All right, if you're a coach and you're trying to make more money in your coaching business, you're trying to level up your business and hit some new revenue goals inside 2026, this is going to be the #1 video for you to watch to level up your mindset and change the way you're operating to get totally different results this year. See, this is a harsh truth, but many coaches call themselves business owners when in reality, they're not. Okay, you technically might own your business 100% yours on paper, but if you are operating like a coach, that is totally different than operating like a business owner. And today we're going to talk about the differences between what it looks like to run a business that's a coaching business, like an entrepreneur, versus what it looks like to run your business and operate the way of, a coach would. All right, so before we dive into the actual differences between, being a coach and running a coaching business, we're going to first just use a quick example. We're going to use a little bit of an illustration, shall we? We're going to say that this person, for the sake of illustration, his name is Joe. And Joe tells us that he wants to go start up an NFL team, right? He wants to go start up a new football team. They're going to be in the NFL. He wants to win some Super Bowls. Now, Joe, for context, boy, does he know football. He knows it through and through like the back of his hand. He's played it. He's been a great player. He also knows how to coach some incredible players. He's coached people to go pro before. He's coached, high schoolers to go get, Division I scholarships. Joe's an incredible coach. He knows how to run plays. He knows how to, recruit talent. He knows a lot about coaching the game of football, and he knows how to win championships for what it's worth. Now, if Joe tells us that he wants to go start up an NFL team and all of Joe's focuses are on, running practice and, going and trying to, recruit the right players and he's just focused on having one-on-one team meetings with all the guys on his team. He's focused on O-line strategies, defensive line strategies, special teams. He's focused on running every single play. He's focused on, reviewing game film. Like, he's being a coach, right? Would that help him to truly start up an actual NFL franchise? The real answer is probably not. See, Joe, to go from great coach in the world of football to owning an NFL franchise, these are two totally different things. He needs to learn about funding. He needs to learn about, branding. He needs to learn about culture. He needs to learn about, hey, how does he actually stop running practice and how instead does he actually start hiring great coaches? He needs to learn more about systems, finances. There's so many more things that Joe's going to need to learn if he's going to be running an NFL team. See, the people that run the NFL teams, the people that run your absolute favorite sports franchises are not the ones that are coaching from the sidelines. They are the owners. Now, the only reason that the teams that you watch, that you absolutely love, the teams that are winning Super Bowls, the teams that are winning Stanley Cups, the only reason they're winning games, yes, they need a good coach, but they need to have an owner to even hire that coach in the first place. See, if that owner was the coach long-term, the franchise wouldn't really get off the ground. The franchise, you wouldn't have ever even heard of those franchises. And that's what we're trying to get at today, is that for Joe in this example, for him to go own an NFL franchise, it's a totally different mindset and totally different way of operating and totally different way of showing up in the world than coaching the game of football. Two different skill sets. Both are important, but the coach and the owner are two different ways of being. And that's what we're going to drive into today, is what does it look like to be a coach versus run a coaching business? Because obviously they're two different things. So let's go ahead and dive on in and actually start talking about more practical examples. A coach, for example, when they are trying to become a better coach, the things that they would invest into are different than entrepreneurs, of course. A coach would oftentimes invest into certification programs. They may invest into any sort of a conference or mentorship or any sort of education that would help them become a better practitioner, help them become a better coach. They want to learn more tactics, more strategies that can help their clients get better results, which is great. Once again, those are helpful things that are needed to be done for a coach to get their clients great results. A coach also, when you're looking at their time, especially like if you go look at a coach's calendar, oftentimes the majority of the things that are blocked off in their calendar are coaching calls. Oftentimes, because they're so focused on getting their clients the absolute best result possible, they're usually doing one-on-one coaching calls. They are just trying to spend as much time with their players or with their clients or with their students as possible. They are trying to make sure that they give their all to get their clients the absolute best results. They want to have great relationships with their clients. They want to see real transformation in their clients or their students' lives. Also, the things that coaches care about While obviously many coaches want to increase their income, the things that just jazz them the most are when their clients are getting great results. Like there's nothing like getting a text message from the client or a Slack update or a Voxer update from your client saying that, hey, they got XYZ result. I mean, it just jazzes them, right? Like you wouldn't go post it on social media. You just feel like your cup is filled knowing that you just helped that person's life get changed and they're that much better off for the work that you're doing with them. And also when it comes to goal setting, most coaches, when they set goals, they're usually hopes. If we just call it what it is, they say that they may want to make more income, but oftentimes because they're not treating it like a business, they're just kind of hoping for more so, referrals to come their way, or they oftentimes think that, hey, if we build it, they will come. If we get our clients great results, hey, our clients will naturally continue to refer to us. And they're more so running this business with just kind of relying on hopes and dreams, and some prayers that God will send them more referrals and that God will send them their next lead. But there's no real strategy to the way of which they're building their business. And so that's why I say when they're setting goals, oftentimes the goals are really just hopes. If we call it what it is, there's no real strategy or tactics behind those goals actually getting accomplished. Now, as compared to if we think about a real entrepreneur, someone that's running a coaching business, similar, right? Businesses are ultimately the same, industries are the same, but mindset's different, right? And so when we think about the entrepreneur, they may technically even be a coach at first. They may be the one just one-on-one working with their clients, but they know and they see themselves as the business owner, and so therefore they don't see themselves as the person that's going to be coaching long term. They know they're going to have infrastructure and other coaches working underneath them to help their clients continue to get the results, because they know that their time and their expertise, the place that they need to be investing all of their attention into, is focused on growing the business. They need to work on the business rather than in the business. And so if that's the case, they have to really prioritize where's their time going, and they also have to prioritize leverage. So they think about their time differently. They don't want to do one-on-one calls very long. And, if it's needed, of course, they're happy to do so, because once again, the heart posture is the same. You still want to get your clients great results. You still want to do great work. You still want to do great work unto the Lord, especially if you're faith-based. But at the end of the day, they pay very close attention to where's their time going. And so, for example, if they've got 10 clients and they've all been meeting with them one-on-one, they're not going to continue selling more one-on-one deals, right? They're either going to have all of those clients getting more into a group coaching program, or maybe they'll fold or maybe kind of graduate the one-on-one. They'll stop selling that, and then instead they'll start to sell group coaching, because obviously it's a better return on time. It's a higher leveraged way to invest their time into something. They're also going to be focusing on systems, like pretty meticulously. They're going to be paying attention to, on all of these coaching calls, what are all the questions that keep coming up? If they have to if they have to answer a question more than once or twice, they're probably going to start to document that and maybe create training curriculum or some sort of an SOP, so that way they don't have to continue to answer the same question time after time. And then usually the coaching goes from maybe one-on-one to group. And then from group, then they'll oftentimes add in not just group coaching calls, they'll oftentimes add in curriculum or training videos. So that way, when a new client comes aboard, they don't have to spend a bunch of time getting them caught up to speed. They'll have a full-on training curriculum that new client can go ahead straight and roll into and immediately start getting caught up to speed on great training videos and resources that are based on real-world data. They're based on the exact questions and the exact conversations they've already had with plenty of other clients already. And this isn't self-seeking. Like, this is not just about them. Oftentimes, entrepreneurs are actually quite a bit more selfless or more generous or more impact-driven than the coach actually is, believe it or not, this might be hard to wrap your mind around. But you see, oftentimes coaches, they're so focused on just trying to get their clients the best result possible, but they're only focused on the clients they're working with. The entrepreneur is focused on, look at all of the other people we need to help. We know that we have great infrastructure. We have great coaches working underneath us. We have an incredible community. We need more people in here because we have one of the best solutions on the market to get our clients the results that they're looking for. And it's doing harm to our clients by them not knowing about us. And so they're trying to figure out, how do we create this community and this ecosystem that can impact way more people than what we're already working with. So whether you have 10 clients or 10,000 clients or anything in between there, they're always focused on, how do we not just save ourselves time, but how do we keep ourselves from being the bottleneck to get our clients the results that they want? At the end of the day, this is a harsh truth to really wrap your mind around, but clients don't care about their time with you. Like, they only care about time with you or access to you as the coach or you as the entrepreneur if they see that as the absolute most likely way to get them the fastest result possible and the best result possible. But at the end of the day, if we take our ego out of it, clients don't care about us. They care about themselves. They want the best result possible. And that's why they're working with you, because they think that you're going to be the best person to help them get that result. But at the end of the day, they don't like if a problem comes up on a Monday and they don't have a call with you until Friday, they don't want to wait until Friday to get your attention. Or shoot, they don't even want to wait until, for you to respond to their Voxer message or their Slack message until end of day Monday or maybe 4 hours later. They want immediate results. The faster the result, the more valuable your entire program is, or the more valuable your entire ecosystem is. And so actually, quite literally, you'll be able to charge higher prices when you could get your clients better results and faster results. So what I'm getting at here is it's not about you being selfish saying, I don't want to spend time with clients. It's about you actually trying to figure out, hey, if I have 100 clients, I physically can't give them all of my time anyway. If I have 10 clients, I can't give all 10 of those clients my exact time and attention all immediately. Like I have to have systems to help these clients at scale so that I'm not the bottleneck to them getting the result they want in the fastest way possible. Also, when it comes to things that entrepreneurs invest into, it's totally different than what a coach would invest into. Entrepreneurs are very rarely, if ever, focused on getting new certifications. They are focused, however, on skill acquisition still. So like becoming better practitioners it's not about becoming a better coach, but they want to still gain more skills. And so once they are a coach, great. Hey, they already have that skill. They're not focused on making that much better. They're actually focused on how do I become better at marketing or advertising, or how do I become better at sales? How do I become better at delegation? How do I become better at creating incredible systems or SOPs that will continue to serve the business, through and through? How do I expand my network so that way more people know about us? How do I build the brand in a way that makes the brand more valuable or more of a premium feel? Like they're focused on is trying to build the business. They're investing financially, but also with their time, they're investing into things that will grow the business and treat it as a business rather than how do I become a better coach? So I guess in all reality, we can boil that down into a couple different buckets of what they're investing into. They're investing into skills, like financially, they're investing into skills that will grow the business. And when I say grow the business, it's going to be from a place of impact, but also brand and then obviously revenue. Without revenue, you don't have a business. Also, they're going to be investing into infrastructure. So that way it becomes more of a business rather than just a highly paying job, right? They want to, as fast as possible, remove themselves from the day-to-day operations so that if they go on vacation, if they get sick, if they, get caught up in a family emergency, that their clients are not going to negatively be impacted for this. They want to make sure that the business can continue to support people and impact people without their time becoming the bottleneck. Also, when it comes time for an entrepreneur to set their goals oftentimes look significantly different than what a coach would set goals to be. So, for example, when it comes to revenue goals or client goals, they're likely going to set number one, higher goals, much, much higher goals, because they're not looking at this as like, hey, I just want another couple clients. They're really trying to build a full-on business here. And businesses, like if they understand they don't want to be a one-man show, because a one-man show isn't a business, it's just a highly paying job. If they want a full-on business, they're going to have to make significantly more revenue than what a coach would set a goal for. A coach is usually going to be self-seeking in the goals they're setting, wanting to make a little bit more money, maybe hit that first $10,000 a month, or maybe even a $20,000 a month. But, an entrepreneur understands that it's going to take some real capital to run this business. They're going to need to hire the team. They're going to need Facebook ads. They're going to need potentially, who knows, office expenses. They're going to need to hire videographers at times. They may need to, have capital to invest into events that they want to host. They're going to need to invest into marketing and branding, hiring a sales team. Like there's so many investments that they need to make. They need significantly more money. And they're also looking at, like, if this is a business, we need to plan for not every single month is going to be perfect. There will be some months that kind of trail off. And so they're going to want their operating account to have maybe 6 months of operating expenses in there. So that way they don't have to fire their team or let go of their contractors the second they, lose a couple clients, or the second they have to refund someone. Also, when they're setting these goals, obviously they're going to be higher, but we're talking significantly higher. We're talking like a minimum $100,000 a month, but oftentimes they're looking at multiple millions of dollars a month. Multiple millions of dollars a year. But oftentimes, even in my space, the reason why I said multiple millions of dollars a month, those are the people I am spending my time with. Is I'm literally in a group. Shout out to Jeremy Haynes, great mentor of mine. But he's in an entire group where like the only thing they celebrate is hitting at least $1 million per month in business. You do not get celebrated or recognized for any sort of business accomplishment unless you've cracked at least $1 million a month. So they have trophies for, your first $1 million month. They have another trophy for whenever you're hitting $5 million a month. Think about the people that would be in a room like that as compared to the people that are, trying to make 10 grand a month. Totally different individuals. And the people that are making $1 million a month, or setting their goals for multiple millions of dollars a year, it's not self-seeking. No one actually needs that much money on a personal level, but you do need that much money if you're going to run a business and treat it like a business. You do need to be making that much revenue, so that way, cash is never in lack, and you never have to make decisions from a place of scarcity, right? You need to continue to make more money, so that way you could hire the right people. You could hire A-level talent. That's another thing that an entrepreneur would be thinking with is like, I don't want to just hire a coach that I have to go train. I want to hire coaches that are coming straight in, hitting the ground running. They already know our processes. Shoot, they might even be better at coaching than you. They might be better at getting the results for clients than you are, believe it or not. In order to hire people like that, oftentimes you might need somewhere between, who knows, 10, maybe 20 grand a month per person that you're hiring if you really want to hire the absolute best of the best. And for example, shoot, if you're going to hire a marketer, you don't want to hire a marketer at 5 grand a month. You want to hire a marketer, and like, just so you know, this is not me like self-seeking. I'm not selling agency services here. Like if I'm going to go hire a marketer, at bare minimum, I'm expecting to pay them 10 grand a month. And I would imagine they're going to want some upside as well. And quite literally, I'd probably be put off if a marketer, like if someone that knows how to go create a bunch of revenue for me, I'd be put off if they didn't want upside in the business as well. Because if they didn't want upside, I'd be questioning their ability to actually be able to make me a bunch more money. And so anyway, like if I'm, obviously if I'm going to go hire a full staff of people that are all making at minimum $100,000 a year on like base level salaries, and I want, call it 10 employees, there you go. That's already $1.2 million a year in base salary, not including what you're paying to yourself, and not including investing into marketing, not including, any of the money you're going to have to spend on softwares or automations or anything like that. So like it takes a good degree of money to hire the absolute best of the best. And that's what an entrepreneur would be looking at and planning for. Also, the way the entrepreneur is going to build a business is quite a bit different. Like I talked about infrastructure earlier and like SOPs and stuff, but like quite literally just using a direct example of this, an entrepreneur is not going to try to spend all day long on one-on-one sales calls. They're going to try to figure out, how do we create a one-to-many selling environment where, instead of getting one sale at a time, or one prospect that we're talking to at a time, they're going to try to figure out, how can we get multiple sales at the exact same time? Because we all, believe it or not, we don't want to focus on this, but we all have a very limited time here on earth. And they're going to try to look at where's their highest return on time. And so whether that's through hosting virtual events, or hosting, even real, in-person events, in-person live events or conferences, or maybe they just have, checkout pages and sales pages that you could go straight through and you could buy without even talking to a salesperson. Maybe there's lower ticket items that you're selling in the business that, people will buy those directly from a Facebook ad. You can just go straight to a sales page, buy the product and move on. Like they're going to look at, how can we get as many automated sales as possible, or at least a multiplicative way or an exponential way to be able to grow the business. That's what an entrepreneur would be focusing on. But once again, coaches wouldn't really focus too much on that. Honestly, I probably should have led with this in the video, but there's a principle that we're really trying to describe here, which is be, do, have. Many people in the success field or in the personal development field may have heard of this be, do, have principle. And if this is your first time ever hearing of this, see, most people, they think that the way to success or the way to achieving their goals is have, do, be. What I mean by that is they think that once they have $1 million a year, then they will do the things that a $1 million a year entrepreneur would do, and then suddenly they will be the $1 million a year earner, right? Like that's kind of the way many people look at achieving things, is that they have to first have the thing, and then they will do the things that person would do, and suddenly then they'll be that person. But that's actually not at all the way that this works. You have to reverse the script. You have to flip the script. You have to at first be the person well, let's reverse engineer. You have to think about, what do you want in the end? What is your end goal? If you want $1 million a year, that's what you want to have, is $1 million a year. Great. What does the person that make us $1 million a year, what do they do? Okay, so then you reverse engineer this. And then by doing those things, you have to kind of be that person. You have to think of yourself as that person. And so then if you think of yourself as that $1 million a year person, and then you start doing the things that $1 million a year entrepreneur would do, even if you're only making, 50 grand a year right now, if you start doing those things, suddenly you'll start to have the results and have the business that that person would end up having. This is actually a biblical principle. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, the Bible says, this is literally God's first words to humanity, which is essentially laying out the success principles for us here on this earth, which is be, do, have. He says we are to be fruitful. And when I say he, it's God. God's speaking to humanity here. He says that we are to be fruitful and do multiply. He says, be fruitful, multiply, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the sky. I'm summarizing this, but you go look it up. It's Genesis 1:28. We literally paraphrase this to be, do, have. He's saying we must be fruitful, we must multiply, which is the doing. We must multiply, and then we will have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the sky. Be, do, have. And so what we're trying to, I guess, illustrate here in this video, and hopefully you're starting to understand this, is if you want to have the business that a successful coaching business looks like for you in your eyes, you must be that entrepreneur. You must start to act like an entrepreneur and do the things that an entrepreneur would do and invest in the things that an entrepreneur would invest into and spend time learning the skills that an entrepreneur would have. And suddenly you'll start to have a more successful coaching business. Stop looking at yourself as a coach. Like, for example, if someone says, hey, what do you do? And you just say, oh, I'm a coach. Like, I'm a health coach. Well, that's probably not going to take you very far. And I know that sounds silly, trying to make such a big deal out of words, but words mean everything. Bible also says that from the tongue is essentially the rudder of a ship. Our words will dictate where we go in life and what we do in life. And I know it sounds so simple and almost, too easy. And maybe that's a different video for another time, is talking about the power of our words. But when you continue to tell yourself and reinforce to yourself and to your whole world around you that you are a coach, you will continue to act like a coach. You will continue to do the things a coach would do, and you will continue to have the results that most coaches have, which is usually, incomes of less than 10 grand a month. Oftentimes, technically speaking, it's less than 5 grand a month. We talk to a lot of coaches, and when they identify themselves as a coach, and they say, yeah, I'm a coach, and I'm a health coach, or I'm a fitness coach, or I'm a business coach, which is super ironic to be a business coach and you're not making at least 100 grand a year at very, very bare minimum. I mean, that's puny. Like just for reference here, the U.S. government describes any business as making less than $40 million a year to be a small business. You could be making $35 million a year right now. Let's round up. Let's say $36 million a year. You could be making $3 million a month, and the U.S. government would still say that you were a small business. You have to be making at least $40 million to be more than a small business. And even stronger than this, did you know that the U.S. government considers you to be a micro small business if you're making less than $20 million a year? Micro small business. That means you could be making $1.5 million a month. You could be taking home $18 million a year in gross revenue, and you are still a micro small business to the U.S. government. They don't care about you at all. They consider you a peon, right? And this isn't to make you feel bad, but it's more so to bring about perspective. Perspective is so important, and when we have that perspective and we really see ourselves like, we're saying our goals are $1 million a year, and like, that's not even a fraction of a micro small business. Like, we got to think bigger sometimes. But anyway, I think I'm getting way sidetracked, but hopefully that's helpful for someone right now. Long story short, with the be, do, have thing is that I don't want you to think of yourself as, hey, once I have more success, then I'll be an entrepreneur. Or once I have way more money, then I'll start acting like an entrepreneur. It's got to flip the script. We've got to flip the script and start looking at ourselves as an entrepreneur and investing in those things that an entrepreneur would invest into, and you'll probably have a much more successful business and have a much better income, and also coincidentally have a much higher impact on your clients as well. So just to kind of drive the point home with one last little reminder here is that the longer you want to identify as a coach, so be it. That's fine. That's your decision. But a coach's identity, like when you identify as that, your bottleneck, your ceiling in your growth will be your calendar. It will be your time. Okay. It's going to be one-on-one calls all day long. You're going to be on coaching calls all day long. You're going to kind of fiddle around, go to networking events, trying to get a few referrals here or there, trying to get more on Zoom consults. Like, your time will always be your bottleneck. And your calendar, like, we all have the exact same amount of calendar. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. We all have the exact same amount of time. And so be very, very careful of that identity, because your calendar will very quickly, if not already, become your bottleneck to being able to grow any further. As compared to if you're an entrepreneur, when you identify as a real entrepreneur and as a real business owner, your bottleneck is not your time, because a business owner can't do everything on their own. They know that from the start. They build the right systems. They build the right infrastructure. They hire the right people. Their bottleneck is their vision. See, if they don't have big enough goals, they won't grow that large. If they don't have big enough goals, they're probably going to hire subpar talent. If they don't have big enough goals, they'll probably invest less into marketing. If they don't have big enough goals, they'll probably sell one-on-one. If they don't have big enough goals, they'll continue to take small actions and continue to make slower decisions. So it's more so their vision that's their bottleneck. So I'd be very curious, as a quick little self-assessment as we kind of wrap up today, is where do you stand? Easiest way to ask yourself this, and let me know in the comments, honestly. If you stepped away from the business, like, let's say this happened to me back in 2022, I got a brain bleed, and I was in the neuro ICU for a few days. I was in the hospital for a total of 5 days for a unexplained brain bleed out of nowhere. That's a different conversation for a different time. Like, if you went to the hospital and you were just MIA for a week or for a month, how long would your business continue to move on before it fell apart? Would it go on for a day? Like, would your clients continue to get results? Would your, billing continue to happen? Like, for example, even accounts receivable. Like, if you have a client on a payment plan, would you have someone that's continuing to send on out invoices or auto bill? Do you have someone that, if a client wanted to cancel their services with you, do you have someone they'd be able to email and that person would be able to cancel the services on your behalf? Do you have coaches or systems that can get your clients great results as you're MIA, whether you're in the hospital or whether you, were to die tomorrow, or if you were to even just go on vacation and you didn't, if you left your laptop at home, you left your phone at home and you were on vacation in a third world country that had no service, how long could your business continue to move on? Not just from getting clients results, but we're talking everything from admin to even enrolling new clients, having sales systems that enroll new clients without your direct time and attention going into it, for new ads to be able to be recorded or filmed, or, new leads to be able to come on into the funnel. Like, how long is your business going to continue to run? For some of you, if you got really, really honest, you know that you couldn't take a full day off. And so be it. Like, there's no shame in this, okay? This is just an honest self-assessment. It's trying to figure out, where are we now? Because we cannot truly set great goals without understanding and being really honest with where we are right now. So whether that's, it could last a couple hours, or maybe it could last a couple days, or maybe if you could go a full month, I think that's a great indicator of, like, hey, if you could go a full month off the radar with your team not being able to reach you at all, yeah, your business is probably, it's a proper business. You've been identifying as a coach for so long that you've actually got yourself a great business. Anyway, that's more so a question for self-identification and just true, utter honesty with where are you at right now. Let me know in the comments. I would be very, very curious. Is it a couple hours? Is it a couple days? Is it a couple weeks? Where are you at? And from there, cool, now we can start to have some fun and really start to change the way we operate and really figure out, well, what would need to change? And so, for example, if you say, yeah, go for a couple hours, I'd ask yourself, what's the first thing that you need to invest into or change or do differently for your business to at least last 2 days, right? How do you go from 2 hours to 2 days? Or maybe you're at the spot where it's like, no, I probably could go 2 days right now, totally off the radar. Everyone would be happy. I wouldn't need to do anything. I don't need to be involved for a full 2 days at a time. Well, then I would ask yourself, what would need to change for you to go for 2 weeks? Okay. What do you need to do? Who do you need to hire? What do you need to invest into? What do you need to do differently within your business for your business to go from being totally okay with you, without you, from 2 days to go up to 2 weeks? And then the last one is, maybe you're at the 2 weeks. You're like, I could probably go 2 weeks, but I think something would break at that point, and I'd need to come on in, fix a few fires, or I'd have a lot of catch-up work to do. Then I'd ask yourself, what is the last couple little things that you're going to need to change in order for it to be able to go from 2 weeks to maybe a full month? So from 2 weeks to 4 weeks. That would just be very, very curious. And obviously, you don't have to comment all that below. But once again, this is just a time for you to be self-reflective, internally curious, and very honest with yourself. But I would be very, very curious. Where are you at right now? Let me know in the comments. Also, as we finish up today, guys, I don't make any money from this channel. And so honestly, the best way to support this channel, if you got any sort of value from this, if you're not already a subscriber, please feel free, subscribe. We have 2 videos that come out every single week, every Tuesday, every Friday. Tuesdays are more so this, we're either talking about mindset, we're talking about very specific business principles that you can go deploy into your business to go multiply the impact and multiply the revenue that you're at. And then every Fridays, we have Faith Forward Fridays. Faith Forward Fridays are just a time where we're going to use some sort of biblical scripture, some sort of biblical reference or just direct scripture from the Bible and talk about what can we apply into how we're leading or how we're creating offers or how we're building our business that's actually supported by scripture. So those are the 2 types of episodes we have every Tuesday, Friday. So once again, if you're new here, hit subscribe on the channel. Honestly, if you share the video with any sort of entrepreneur or any other friend that needs to hear this, that would mean so much. Yes, obviously to me, but it would also mean a whole lot to them. If you know that this is something that's unique that would really help someone, go bless someone in your community. That's the best way that we continue to love on and support each other, especially now in the age of where we are all so busy. We're all young, maybe you're not young, but if this is more of a heart posture, honestly, is like if you're a young hustler, you're trying to make something for yourself. You're trying to really make waves. You're trying to make an impact. You're trying to multiply what God has given you. You're oftentimes so focused on doing things on your own and trying to just kind of head down, stay focused, that you oftentimes forget about loving on your community around you. And so that, once again, that's just one of the best ways that you could love on someone is go share a quick link with someone and say, hey, thought of you. Honestly, I think that this would be just a blessing for you and where your business is at right now. Go, check this channel out. So anyway, that would mean the world to me. Well, that's about all I have for you today. If you got any value from today's video, once again, please hit subscribe, give a quick comment. Let me know where you're at right now in business. And if there's any specific questions that you have that you'd like me to record a video on in the future, let me know. Would love for your personal feedback. I respond and read to every single comment on the channel. Till next time, peace, love, and blessings, and continue to go multiply and steward well with what God has given you.